Amish farmers do not utilize fancy machines or costly chemicals. They grow vegetables twice the size of most people's. Their trade secret is simple methods handed down over the years, plain sight hidden. These 25 soil tricks will transform your landscape from miserable to magnificent. And the best thing about it? Usually you already have all you need right at home. Let's begin with the first 3 potent Amish soil secrets you may begin applying right now. Garden preparation begins in October for the Amish, rather than in April. Amish farmers gather dropped leaves every October, particularly oak and maple. Why among those? When they break down, they produce humus, a rich black compost. It nourishes the ground without introducing anything detrimental. Smartly, though, they avoid walnut leaves. Those include a toxin known as juglone, which actually stunts vegetable development. They lay the leaves in thick 6-inch layers over their plant plots after the last harvest, soak them, then cover them with a light coating of dirt. That keeps the wind from carrying them far away. Earthworms have dug the leaves well down by spring, turning them into soft, nutrient-dense dirt. Amish gardeners claim this adds 10 to 15% more organic matter annually. One old Amish man showed us his soil, so black and rich it resembled coffee grounds. 10 years of doing this annually yields this. But even more incredible is what is going beneath. Most folks either burn the stalks or trash them after corn season. Not an Amish person. They cut them into 6-inch chunks and bury them in 12-inch deep holes where they intend to sow heavy feeders, such as tomatoes or potatoes, next spring. Consider it as arranging a subterranean banquet for your vegetation. They even lay some wood ash in the ditch. That naturally supplies potassium and balances the pH of the soil. Those stiff maize stalks fall down gradually over winter. The dirt in those areas is softer, springier, and nutrient-dense by the time planting season arrives. One Amish farmer grinned and stated, "My potatoes grow twice as big as my neighbours." Not sure why. In dry conditions, this approach also helps the soil retain moisture. In wet spells, it improves drainage. In Amish land, spring arrives late, yet they have worked out a method to heat their gardens without plastic greenhouses or power. Their ploy is under the ground, a secret heat source. They excavate a 2-foot-deep pit in the midst of the garden in fall and stuff it with fresh horse manure mixed with straw. They then cover it with 4-inch earth layer. Not much looks like, but this concealed compost pile starts to cook after winter ends, in literal terms. Microbes break down the manure and straw, producing heat sufficient to elevate the nearby soil temperature by 5 to 10 degrees. Given that spring evenings remain chilly, that is quite significant. Some Amish also employ this method in greenhouses, laying eggplants and peppers around these subterranean heaters. It gives them a 2-week head start, which greatly affects the quantity of food they can produce, and they accomplish it without any electricity. This may surprise you, but the entire family gathers in silence before the Amish sow one seed. Standing in the garden together, they bow their heads and express gratitude for the ground and the future crop. Even the youngsters participate. Here's where it gets fascinating, though. Science is beginning to support this. Studies reveal that even soft speech and pleasant energy have responses from plants. Plants subjected to nice comments grew 15% quicker than those not in one experiment. For the Amish, this thankfulness lets them concentrate completely on the garden. They find little things like dry areas, evidence of bugs, or neglected soil. And even the carrots most likely feel loved. Forget elaborate soil meters. The Amish test when the garden is ready with their own hands. They push a finger into the ground to start planting. Perfect is if it sinks to the second knuckle with minimal force. Should it be too difficult? The ground is either still frozen or compacted. Should the finger slide in too easy and leave a moist mark? Too wet? Wait a few days. This quick test simultaneously analyzes texture, moisture, and temperature as well as colour. Some Amish gardeners also go so far. They go barefoot across their garden at dawn in early spring. It enables them experience the warmth and softness of the ground directly, not only tradition. It's similar to joining the land, and it is the starting point. These 5 methods taken together will affect the growth of your garden, practically from the ground up. Still, we are just lightly touching the surface. The next section will reveal more potent Amish secrets, from baking soda tests to natural bug traps, to even how broken eggshells could enhance your soil. If you are learning something new, hit that like button and subscribe to avoid missing what is ahead. The Amish wait for the earth to speak to them, not for a calendar day to initiate gardening. And, strangely, they listen with their toes. They know it is time when the ground feels just perfect under bare feet. Not too chilly, not too soggy. Not apps or sensors, only pure instinct developed over many generations of observation. Digital thermometers miss the whole picture, even if they can offer you a number. The Amish Easy Finger Test provides all-at-once temperature, moisture, and compaction. It is the real-time feedback found in nature, not needing batteries. Planting in damp or frigid ground may cause delayed development and stunted roots. With this hands-on, feet-in attitude, the Amish avoid that trap though. Sometimes, indeed, simpler is more intelligent. How can such absolutely straight Amish carrots and huge beets be made? This is what is happening underground. Twice a year, once in early spring, and once more following harvest, the Amish go through a simple yet magical custom. They punch deep holes, 8 to 10 inches down, across the garden in a tight grid using only a garden fork, each hole around 6 inches apart. This method generates underground tunnels for nutrients, air and water, and breaks up compacted soil. Plant roots appreciate these channels, as do earthworms. One Amish farmer said, "My garden fork does more than most tractors. Only mine doesn't grumble about gas prices." Worms leave nutrient-rich castings behind as they follow the holes. Fungi stretch their networks. Root vegetables split and grow longer, straight without contacting hard ground. And that's the beauty of it. Just a fork and a little muscle. No machinery. The Amish provide the best possible start for seeds before they ever reach the garden. A handmade seed mix that surpasses everything from the shop. The formula is easy and strong. 1 completed section of compost for nutrients. 1 part vermiculite to let air flow and retain moisture. 1 part peat moss to increase structure and provide acidity. For calcium and stronger cell walls, a tablespoon of ground eggshells per cup mixed. They wet it and let it rest for a week. This charging cycle wakes helpful bacteria, transforming dead soil into live soil. The outcomes are clear-cut: 30% or more increased germination rates, stronger stemmed seedlings with richer green leaves. 2 keystones of good beginnings are improved drainage and moisture balance, and when should one be transplanting? These young plants hardly skip a beat. Before now, you most likely threw eggshells in the garbage or compost, but the Amish utilize them as small greenhouses. They gently break eggs at the broader end, rinse them off, then create a drainage hole at the bottom after breakfast. They then stuff their seed mix into every shell and straight back into the original carton. The arrangement is perfect, has just sufficient soil and moisture, preserves the roots. Simple to move and more simpler to plant. There is no transplant shock or root damage when the first real leaves show up. The entire shell gets buried straight into the garden. Furthermore, gradual breakdown of the eggshell feeds calcium into the soil, which is fantastic for tomato blossom end rot prevention. One Amish grandmother who has done this for 60 years grinned and stated, "I have never purchased a calcium supplement in my life." If the hens understood gardening, even they would be proud. Amish gardeners essentially go straight to the root of the matter instead of fertilizing the whole garden. They excavate fertility pockets, holes 12 inches wide, and 18 inches deep before laying heavy feeders like tomatoes or squash. Then they load them with a potent combination: 1/3 completed compost, 1/3 of aged manure, 1/3 of the garden soil. For calcium and potassium, also ground eggshells and a small bit of wood ash. Until roots get deep enough to uncover this treasure, a couple inches of consistent soil cover everything. Once they accomplish, boom! Development starts out slow, then picks up speed, stalks thick, dark green foliage, larger, better-tasting vegetables. This approach focuses nutrients where they most count rather than wasting them all over the garden. It consumes less stuff, is more clever and efficient. Unlike conventional fertilizer that peaks and disappears, lab testing reveal these pockets maintain a consistent nutritional delivery all season long. This method reveals precisely why the Amish people can produce such plenty of food on the same ground year after year. These are strong customs handed down through years, not only garden advice. Still, we are not yet finished. Next, how the Amish augment their soil with ashes, baking soda, even weeds. And the trick for the weed? It might just be the smartest idea you never considered. Remember to subscribe if you want more ageless garden knowledge from people who really live off the land, and press like if this helped you. In Amish gardens, those enormous fruit-filled tomato plants, they are not the result of accident. The secret begins with their planting technique. The typical gardener would find it extreme. Every hole is dug 12 inches wide and 18 inches deep, deep enough to bury a small tree. At the bottom comes a few crushed eggshells for calcium, then a few inches of compost, and a surprising element, a banana peel breaking down. Just why? Early root development calls on two nutrients, potassium and phosphorus, which that banana gradually releases. Tomatoes are like teenagers, said an Amish gardener once. Give them a strong basis and much to eat. Fortunately, they ask not to borrow the buggy. The twist is that they bury the stem thoroughly rather than planting tomatoes at soil level, often leaving just the top few leaves above ground. Using adventitious roots, new roots, that buried stem develops, transforms the entire lower stem into a feeding system. As such, a powerhouse plant handling heat, drought, and heavy fruiting like a champion. These tower tall, green, and fruitful, while other tomatoes wither in the hot sun. Rows are for roadways. In Amish gardens, rings designate vegetables. Their companion rings approach planting differently, one that makes use of natural design to produce more food in less space, with less issues. This is how it operates. Start with a 4-foot diameter circle. Plant a useful herb in the middle, basil, dill, or thyme. These draw pollers and repel pests. Plant vegetables by height and sunshine demands around the centre. Tall plants like kale or peppers go northward to avoid casting shadow. Root vegetables like beets and carrots travel east, where early light promotes uniform sprouting. Leafy greens like lettuce and spinach travel west, where afternoon shadow cools them. By means of a microclimate created by this clever design, plants are shielded from wind, heat, and cold, therefore prolonging the growing season by perhaps 3 weeks. Watering is simpler. Just irrigate the core, and moisture radiates evenly outward. The outcome? Up to 35% more than conventional rows. And a garden equally lovely as it is useful. Want to turn grass into garden soil without tilling or excavation? The Amish practice sheet mulching, and all you need is some cardboard, compost, and straw. It begins with putting basic brown cardboard over the grass. No need to dig anything down. While it breaks down, cardboard smothers weeds and feeds the ground unlike plastic. Over the cardboard, they disperse. 4 inches of compost, 2 inches of straw. They then let it lie for about 2 weeks before straight into the compost layer planting. No excavation, not tillering, not back trouble. Tilling kills the fungal networks in the soil and pushes away earthworms. While increasing moisture retention and promoting good soil life, sheet mulching protects those systems. Studies reveal that no-till soil contains up to 300% more earthworms, and if the worms are happy, the plants typically are also. Even cardboard is gathered by Amish households all winter to be ready come April. One joke has Amazon delivering your boots, but we find flower beds inside the box. While most backyard gardens are excessively alkaline, blueberries, strawberries, and even potatoes all like acidic soil. The Amish correct this without using drugs. Rather, they make one basic use for pine needles. They gather fallen pine needles in the fall, cut them 1 to 2 inch lengths, then 50-50 mix them with completed compost. As it breaks down, this combination gradually releases acidity, just ideal for producing a pH between 4.5 and 5.5, the sweet spot for acid-loving plants. Additional advantages: pine needles aid to better drain, so preventing root rot. Their waxy layer retains moisture, perfect for fruit during dry weather. 2 vital minerals for fruiting that alkaline soils typically lack, manganese and iron, also are released by them. Season after season, Amish berry patches display consistent pH levels free from the spikes and crashes caused by industrial acidifiers. The forest floor sometimes provides the greatest answers. Amish gardeners were already enhancing their soil with crushed charcoal long before biochar started to be fashionable. Not any charcoal, though. Most certainly not store-bought briquettes with artificial binders. They mix crushed fine pieces of natural wood charcoal into the ground. Why it succeeds? Porous by nature, charcoal absorbs nutrients and water like a sponge. It enhances microbial life, changes soil structure, and lasts for decades, sometimes centuries. It even helps neutralize soil pollutants, thereby enabling poor soil to become once more productive. Consider it as a long-term soil battery, gradually charged and recharged seasonally. Though they use one of the most environmentally friendly gardening methods available on Earth, quietly and with tremendous success, Amish gardeners might not call it carbon sequestration. From banana peels to pine needles, crumbled charcoal to cardboard, what most people would consider rubbish in an Amish garden is gold. Still, we have not yet finished. Coming up, why Amish gardens seldom suffer from pests or diseases, and how they employ homemade pesticides, secret compost boosters, and natural trap crops to maintain their food healthy without strong chemicals. Remember to like and subscribe. The next secret could permanently alter your yard. To the Amish, charcoal is earth magic rather than only cooking medium. With basic hand tools, they break hardwood charcoal, never store-bought briquettes, into pea-sized pieces. They then mix roughly 2 cups per cubic foot of ground. First look reveals simply black bits. Underground, though, they are working really actively. Little pores abound in every piece, like small water tanks collecting up moisture during rain and releasing it gradually during dry spells. Still, it is not limited there. These pores also carry oxygen and nutrients, transforming every little into a VIP club for bacteria and roots. It's like building hundreds of subterranean mini reservoirs so the plants always have access to food and drink. More amazing still, these charcoal bits develop microbial hotspots. Beneficial species swarm them, up to 5 times increasing soil life in comparison to untreated areas. One Amish farmer revealed dirt from his patch where he had been putting charcoal for 25 years. Thus, the outcome: rich, dark, alive ground that generates crops his neighbours cannot match. Dinner leftovers for most folks are crab shells. For Amish gardeners, they are disease-fighting gold. The shells are crushed into tiny fragments after being completely cleaned and dried. They are not powder, only small enough to break down gradually in the ground. Applied at roughly 2 cups per 10 square feet, These bits offer two really strong advantages. Calcium released slowly enhances general growth and strengthens plant cell walls. A game-changer natural chemical found in the shells is chitin. Chitin feeds helpful fungus that combat root-damaging nematodes, microscopic worms that quietly ruin vegetation. Studies indicate that in one season, crab shell-amended soil can cut these pests by up to 90%. Better still, chitin triggers a plant's own immune response, therefore preventing diseases in these soils without using chemical sprays. It's like giving your garden natural immunological support from the sea. Often calcium insufficiency is the cause of blossom end rot in tomatoes, or lettuce turns bitter. The Amish have a slower, superior alternative, while most gardeners grab limestone, crushed oyster shells. Following cleaning and drying, they break the shells and apply 2 cups per 10 square feet of soil, particularly around crops like tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants that are particularly calcium hungry. Oyster shells release calcium slowly, matching the rhythm of the plant, unlike lime, which acts fast and can produce pH swings. Keeping your tomatoes solid, your lettuce sweet, and your eggplants rich, that delayed release avoids vitamin imbalances and minimizes calcium-related problems. You might argue the Amish bring the sea to their ground, just without the birds trying to steal their meal. Unless you are Amish, clearing out the fireplace could seem like a chore. It is then a chance to improve soil. They preserve separate ashes in various containers and meticulously save hardwood ash from trees like maple and oak. Why is it? For every type of wood generates ash with different nutrients. Here is their usage of it. 1 cup for 10 square feet, early spring sprinkled, applied mostly on potassium-loving plants, including potatoes and tomatoes. Calcium keeps blossom end rot away. For healthier cell structure, sweeter fruits, and stronger stems, potassium. Trace minerals vary by tree. Maple ash is high in magnesium and oak ash in iron. Steer clear of cedar or pine ash. They overly acidify the soil. But hardwood ash? That is the Amish version of a garden booster derived from nature. Some Amish gardens have a leafy, blooming plant growing at their margins that some consider to be a weed. To those familiar, though, Comfrey is a powerhouse. Reaching 10 feet deep, its roots dig nutrients from subsoil inaccessible to vegetables. Those minerals find residence in the massive, rapidly expanding leaves of Comfrey. Because Comfrey draws important nutrients to the surface, it is also referred to as a dynamic accumulator. Usually cutting them at the base, Amish gardeners gather the outer leaves and then chop and sprinkle them as mulch around veggies. Consequently, a green fertilizer, more potassium-rich than other organic products. Particularly in flowering and fruiting seasons, it breaks down, quickly releasing nutrients that plants may use right away. You can pick Comfrey many times a season, and each plant generates up to 6 pounds of leaves. One farmer laughed. His tomatoes were reaching for the Comfrey like children snatching biscuits, their roots like small hands. From crab shells to fireplace ash, from oyster leftovers to deep-rooted Comfrey. What others toss away, Amish gardeners transform into gold. And we still have to finish. The last stretch of Amish garden secrets, including trench composting, trap crops, chemical-free pest control, along with why their gardens are essentially self-fertilizing. Next. Subscribe now. You will not want to miss what is ahead. Deep in Amish gardens, a sophisticated technique silently converts kitchen trash into potent plant food without transporting compost around. They construct 12-inch deep ditches between garden rows instead of building separate heaps. Into these enter eggshells, coffee grinds, vegetable wastes, even shredded newspaper. They then just cover the trench with 3 inches of earth and plant veggies just alongside it. Scraps buried over time break down in place and directly nourish surrounding roots. No waiting. Without wheelbarrows, just a naturally occurring slow-release banquet directly beneath the surface. This technique changes soil, not only fertilizes it. Up to 8 inches of microbial activity surrounding the trenches produces a live zone of moisture and nourishment. The tunnels also function as subterranean water supplies during dry seasons, gradually delivering liquid to parched roots. Corn and squash heavy feeders adore this method. They shoot out roots like hungry explorers seeking exactly what they need when they need it. The Amish build worms not only welcome them, their hidden secret is tower worms. They bury the 2-foot section of PVC pipe cut with half-inch holes 18 inches deep, leaving the top 6 inches above ground. Though beneath, it appears to be a busy worm cafeteria, not lost plumbing. Every week they toss kitchen waste and a few composting worms into the tower. The worms disperse nutrient-rich castings into the nearby soil as they enter and leave the holes. Thus, the outcome. Even thick clay gets light and friable with time. Gardens, including worm towers, contain 40% more organic content and retain water significantly more effectively. One 25-square-foot tower generates a system of live soil boosters. Nothing synthetic could match the work of these wriggly workers. To the Amish, used coffee grounds go to war. They never go in the garbage. Against slugs. The grounds dry, then they surround delicate plants in 3-inch wide circles. Slugs and snails, which dislike crawling over the grainy surface, are discouraged by the somewhat abrasive texture and mild acidity. These rings, though, have purposes beyond protection. Slow, consistent nitrogen released by the breaking down coffee grounds feeds plants without burning them. Just way plants enjoy it, this is a mild, natural fertilizer. Surprising further is the possibility that the caffeine itself could be involved. Some plants take it up through their roots, building inherent insect resistance in their tissues. It's like botanical caffeine armor. No one chemical sprayed here. The Amish reapply the coffee rings after rain to shield their crops from damage and ensure their vitality. Epsom salt becomes a potent plant cure in Amish hands, but it may rest peacefully in your bathtub. Made of magnesium sulfate, this basic mineral blend addresses sometimes overlooked hidden deficits in conventional fertilizers. Amish gardeners, once a month, mix 1 tablespoon in a gallon of water and apply it straight to the ground, not the leaves. Yellowing leaves green as magnesium stimulates the synthesis of chlorophyll, the lifeblood of photosynthesis within days. Plants come alive, develop more quickly, and sometimes taste better. Some believe their homemade sauce ceased adding sugar since their tomatoes were so sweet and tasty. Given 60% of North American soils lack magnesium, this modest treatment closes a significant gap and enhances not only taste but also nutrition. The sulfur also facilitates the synthesis of protein by plants, therefore enhancing their health. Unless you are Amish, fresh grass clippings may seem like yard trash. They then become grass tea, a strong natural fertilizer surpassing commercial blends. It operates like this. Halfway in a 5-gallon bucket, fill with new clippings. Top it up with pure water. Let it steep for 3 days, then seal it with a cover. Microbes break down the grass at this time to release nitrogen and other nutrients into the liquid. Without chemicals, this green concoction provides an instant growth boost when sprayed over plants. In mid-season, when plants need a pick-me-up to maintain robust flowering and fruiting, it is very potent. While many gardeners hunt miraculous sprays and synthetic fertilizers, the Amish depend on time-tested, low-tech techniques that silently perform miracles. From buried kitchen waste to worm skyscrapers, from coffee rings to grass tea, they have created a system whereby nature does the heavy work, and the outcomes are really clear-cut. Should your garden be able to speak, it most likely would say, "Send me to the Amish." For most people, what seems to be lawn trash is liquid gold in Amish gardens. Though basic, the technique is great. Halfway, fill a 5-gallon bucket with fresh lawn clippings. Add to it pure water. Stir daily to assure aerobic breakdown and maintain oxygen flow. 3 days later, the outcome is a deep green tea loaded with fast-acting nitrogen and trace minerals. Elements plants can grab right away. Amish gardeners weaken it 1 to 10 with water before applying. Timing is everything. During important development phases, particularly on leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, and cabbage, it increases leaf growth by up to 25% in just 1 week. Grass tea won't also burn your plants or disturb soil biology, unlike chemical fertilizers. It sustains the ecology under the plants as well as nourishes them. Amish farmers looked to the wild pharmacy of nature long before commercial fertilizers arrived. Their weapon of choice is secretly. Most people ignore a herbal development booster derived from common weeds, nettle, comfrey, and dandelion. Every herb offers something different. More iron than spinach. Nettle is loaded. Comfrey gives allantoin and potassium, which stimulates cell development. Deep minerals other plants cannot access are pulled by dandelion. Amish households sometimes create a game out of gathering these plants, although in this sport, nettle stings signal you are winning. To create the tonic, stuff 2 cups of each dried herb into a pillowcase or mesh bag. Immerse in a 5-gallon rainwater bucket. Stirring every other day, cover with a lid, and steep for 7 to 10 days. Diluted 1 to 10 with water, this brew feeds robust, fast-growing plants with enhanced fruiting. It even includes naturally occurring plant hormones that increase cell division and stress tolerance. The Amish see that relaxation as a holy legacy. Even the richest garden soil needs occasional repose. Their rotation technique is about giving one area of the garden a whole season to recover, rather than only about shifting crops. That resting place is not naked. Rather, it is seeded with cover crops such as buckwheat or clover. These plants send roots right into compacted ground, pull nutrients from below, track sunlight, and turn it into organic matter. Amish gardeners chop the cover crops at the soil line before they set seed. The tips are left as mulch. The roots break down in situ to create conduits for air, water, and bacterial life. Every 7th bed must sleep, they say. This regularity lets the earth naturally rebuild nutrients, halt pest cycles, and repair itself. The profit is garden parts left for a year can produce 35 to 40% more the next season. Modern research verifies it. Rest rotation produces more varied microbial life and more organic materials. From observing, waiting, and trusting the ground, the Amish simply knew it all along. From buried compost trenches to herbal brews, worm towers to coffee ground barriers, the Amish have created a garden system that not fights nature, but rather partners with it. They make use of the materials surrounding them: seashells, wood ash, kitchen trash, and weeds. Not one trick, not a lot of pricey equipment, just slow, careful care. And what are the outcomes? Gardens that feed families, fight disease, outgrow their neighbours, and year after year help to repair the soil. The true secret to Amish gardening success is underfoot, alive, breathing, fertile soil.